My dad was quiet doer in the name of good of others, right? So there was a lot of that. So it's like, but at the same time, my father had a lot of like superiority complex, but not from a bad place. Like my dad would randomly say things like, coming out of meetings, he was an architect, he would come out of meetings and he says, it doesn't matter what I wear, my words kill them. Like stuff like that he would randomly say, you know, or he used to do crossword puzzles on the bus. And one day, just I as a child randomly remember, like this is such high level of importance, we exiting the bus, he majestically takes out the whole thick book like this with crossword puzzles and says, dumps it in the trash and says, I no longer can do crossword puzzles. And then looks at me, you know, I'm like a little child, 7, 8 years old, and looks at me, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, what's the problem, you know, like what's going on? And he looks at me and says, I know every answer. And then we walk away, and my dad, since that moment, never did crossword puzzles ever again. And they have certain ways of superiority, but it doesn't come from the place, I'm better than you, I'm this or I'm that. They actually come from the place, I mean well. I'm learning these things to tell you, to teach you, to show you. And I'm doing this for the rest of the humanity. I'm not doing it for me. And other people see it as like, well, who picked you to be that person? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My whole point with that is, we need to take each other for what we good and just take it. Yeah. I meet another person and I, in a conversation, take everything they have to offer. And I know a week down the road, I couldn't care less about you. And it's not because I'm mean or I think I'm superior. I just received an information that was good and I'm praising you for it, and then I move on. And I think Scorpios have a lot of caring involved in their behavior, that it's coming across slightly overbearing for some other to bear. But if you embrace it because they have a lot to offer, then it's a good thing for you. It's a good thing for me. I'm embracing you because in a lot of conversations with things you have said, I was like, I would never come up with that. That's genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, it benefits me. So I think there's that give and take constantly involving.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people disregarded Scorpios in the name of their personal egos more than anything else.
And you know what else I also think also? I think part of the whole controlling dynamic, something that I've been working on, which I think it all ties in some place. Because remember, like, for the past, like, I've been working on this, like, even, you know, like, because, you know, you can tell when I'm working on something because I'll bring it up here and there. And recently I've been bringing up the whole dynamic of how certain people can be the same age, but one person can be extremely more mature, be able to, like, grasp, you know, like, life a certain way to go on and become, like, you know, like, at their tender age of 25, you know, become like the partner in a law firm and be able to handle all these ideas at the same time, where you have someone who's also 25 may not have that capacity, may be able to flourish in other ways, you know, but then you wonder, okay, well, how come a person can be here managing 30 people, you know, and have such a secured base and sense of security about that person's self, whereas a 25-year-old is still partying, still what have you. Hold on. And I've been, you know, thinking about this, and even my father, right? He's, you know, in ENTP, he's a Capricorn just like you, but he grew up, you know, in Europe and so forth. So when he came to America, he was very stiff. He was always known as a stiff one, you know? He had his house at 25, he had 2 kids. By the time he was 30, he had 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, he grew up really quickly. He worked with the UN, but he deals with a whole lot of ambassadors and so forth that the common person cannot get involved in. So I always wondered. But then I started thinking about it, how it ties into the whole controlling aspect. Again, it's the deeper, because you have to now hold different concepts in your minds and ideas and be able to maintain it and then flow into the other ones. And I realized that, again, the reason why I sometimes compare myself with others who can hold on to these big management positions, right? Whereas me, I'm like, I envy that in a way. I'm like, oh man, like I would, but is it because I'm not as intellectually developed, or what is it? Then I've realized, as an introvert, someone who's secretive, I need my own time. I'm not always out there. I'm not going to be in that position. It's going to be very difficult for me because it's going to be very overwhelming, unless I gradually go into these positions like I have throughout the years. Now I'm starting to come into my own. But if you don't have it, immediately you're not looking for it. So therefore you're like, you're
not seeking it out.
But then as a result of that, you miss out on a lot of that stuff because you're not exposed to a lot of these things because you're so reserved, you're so this, you're so that. You're not always out there. So therefore you're not informed on a lot of the things externally. When it comes to the news, because you can do all these things internally on your own or whatever, you can gather this information.
Is it missing out though? Because I know...
No. But it's missing out in a way that, yes, if you're introverted, you are not looking to go and be, the top dog and be like, okay, I'm going to run, or manage a department of, 200, 300, 400 people. When I asked, my supervisor who actually got promoted into now being one of the division chiefs, I asked him because he was my direct supervisor, but he was just in charge of our office. But then I asked him, I said, did you want, because he had just come back into the department, and I asked him, I said, did you want another couple years to actually, develop your skills, your management skills, and be able to sort of, he was like, no, I was ready. Because he got promoted, so he's like, I was ready for it because I've already been doing it. I've already been talking to, the different, secretaries of state and this, that, and the third. So for him, it was easy transition for him. But guess what? It's that exposure. But if you're a reserved person, if you're not into that, you're not going to go.
Well, technically, what you're saying is that you're not necessarily going to even go seek out in order to be able to progress in that line,
Because just naturally speaking, you're not
inclined. It's not your nature to go towards that.
And what I was saying also, okay, but I'll explain how it goes into the whole controlling aspect. But number two now, because you're not inclined, you don't actually go out and you don't seek it. Because it's just not in your nature,
right.
So therefore it's not there. But in order for the controlling aspect, as introverts, society does not reward our types. They reward the Bill Gates, the Mark Zuckerbergs that are out there and they want to be out there and they, what have you. They're really going out and doing big things. They, some of them
socially rewarded, you mean?
Yeah, and people, not only that, but people who are great at technical and they have technical aptitude and they're very, hold on, they're very this, they're very that, police, very, concrete, everything is boom. Whereas us, a lot of what we do is very big picture. A lot is very dealing with people on a personal level. It's giving chances. Oh, I see where you're coming from. I understand this, what have you. That's not rewarded. What's rewarded is people who are out there stepping over people in order to get promoted.
But all those people, for some reason, seek people like...
No, I know, but they're the ones who get the rewards. They're the ones who get rewarded. We don't. So therefore, in our own areas, we now can control the people around us.
Well, see, I see your personality type actually can be in that position in certain situations, but the immediate persons, let's say, okay, managers have 30 people to control. They actually control those 30 people. Your personality type is overwhelmed by amount of 30, but your personality type is not overwhelmed by 1 or 2. So what I'm saying is you still can be in that position of higher control, delegating to 1 to execute 30. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's that's where you fit in. You don't fit in like immediate boom 30. That's too much energy to deal with. But if you have 1 energy to tell them to direct those other 30, that's your position.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like
but still, but the bigger picture is that person, regardless, we're always on the back end. That person is always
incognito. They always kind of like
But what I'm saying is that, but the people, the sensors, the ones who are out there, they're the ones who are actually going to execute.
Excuse me.
So yes, there are obviously situations where we basically can lead from behind and we're in shadows and so forth and so on.
It's not from behind.
We don't need the limelight, but yes, it is from behind.
You don't need light. No.
It is.
It's quietly from the top, not.
It's from It's the same. Basically, from behind. Basically, you lead from behind. You execute. You're not the forefront. You're basically.
You're not the showgirl. You're the one that organizing the show.
Okay, so you're from behind.
You're the director of the show. You're not the showgirl.
Okay, yeah. So you're basically directed from behind. You're not in the spotlight in the front.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying to you is that, generally speaking, these personalities are not rewarded
in today's
by society. Secondly, because we're not so involved, we're not all that, we miss out on a lot of the external stuff because that's not our personalities. So that's why I can say, okay, well, I know a little bit of this, I know a little bit of that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I can have a conversation with you and then go so far into the external worlds. I'll go so far in areas of psychology, understanding people. Why was this person crying? Why did this person feel this? But those people who I'm talking to, they don't understand that. But what I'm talking about, and when let's say I have my meetings, I always say in my videos, I have these meetings, and I want to go in and get to the big picture. People don't reward that. They don't want that. They want boom.
Yes,
and that's why they told me, you're too nice. You're too nice. Oh, you should have just, tore him up. You should have just, throw him to the boat. Again, it doesn't matter because you're trying to figure out why, whatever. But the fact is that that's how it happens. It's not a matter of, oh yeah, but why would they do that? Oh, you shouldn't. The fact is that's how it is because you have these people who are rewarded by execute, ask questions later, execute. Whereas us, we're sitting here trying to figure
more of a human factor to it.
Yeah, so that's why we now, not going back and closing the doors, is that we now have a way of now controlling the people who are more close to us because that's our
world,
area, that's our world. Whereas going out and controlling
all these people, I need to know them, I need to learn them first.
And not only that, because they're not receptive to our, social, so for example, I can't go to anyone and be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, talk to me about this. What are you talking about? Or if I see someone hurt, be like, hey, are you okay, bro? I noticed that you were off a little bit. Some people, they don't want that. It's like, well,
why are you talking to me?
Yeah, why? I'm good. Why are you worried about why I'm hurt for? You know what I'm saying to you? So society doesn't reward that. Society just rewards, pick yourself up. What are you doing, bro? Get out of here. Like that, just generally speaking. So that's why when we find people who we can claim that it's our world, and then we now control, but it's not from a do this or go away, get out of here.
It's almost, but you know what it is? I think it's time and place. I think in that case, Scorpio in today's time and place has that.